Hello everyone, welcome to Prestige Castle Farm. My name is Innocent and Happy New Year to you all. Today, I'll be sharing 8 tips that investors in diaspora can utilize in making their decision to invest in Nigeria. So these tips are very important so that you will not make a mistake. Myself, I have been in diaspora previously, and currently I am in Nigeria, currently investing in the agribusiness. So this tips is coming from experience that you can utilize in order not to make some mistakes. So there are 2 categories of investors in diaspora who intend investing in the agribusiness in Nigeria. The first category are people who intend diasporas investors. It could be Nigerians in diaspora who intend to invest in the agribusiness in Nigeria, but they do not want to be based in Nigeria. And then the second category of people are those who intend to invest in the agribusiness in Nigeria, and they intend to base or relocate back to Nigeria. For the first category of people, my recommendation is, if you cannot be present to supervise your investment in the agribusiness, you may then need to consider other form of investment that do not need your presence, such as shares and stock, or you can just buy land, because land has shown to be one of the investments that can stand against inflation, particularly in Nigeria, pending when you make your decision to come back home and invest. So these tips are particularly geared towards investors that wants to come back in Nigeria and invest in the agribusiness. So the reason why I recommend you to be present is for your investment. I mean, when you want to invest in Nigeria, for you to be present to supervise your investment. The reason why I'm making this recommendation is born out of experience. I remember when I was a young teenager, I used to rear a lot of, in fact, from childhood, I used to rear a lot of livestock. I've always loved livestock. And we used to raise some local chicken and some chicken where we used to, I think the Anoila, we used to call it agric. So in total, I have about 50 of them. And so my parents used to, during school holiday, they would send us to our various uncle and aunt to go and spend like about 2 weeks there, so that we can see the other side of the world and gain some experience about life. So before I embark on this holiday journey to my uncle's place, I called a friend of mine and said, please, can you please keep an eye on this? My chicken is there, about 50 of them. This chicken, you do not need to feed them. All you need to do is just to open the pen, and they will go out. They are local chicken. They will go out and look for their food. And my friend said, okay, no problem. And I promised him that when I come back, I will give him one of those chicken. But guess what? When I came back, 49 out of the 50 chicken is gone, and only one is remaining. And so I learned from that experience that, you need to be present, especially when you want to invest in the agri sector. So let's jump right into the 8 tips. Number 1 tip, in fact, I've written down this 8 tips. And I would recommend that, please, if you can get a pen and paper, so that you could jot down this important tip. I take time to research and write this thing down based on experience. The first thing is, you need to do your research. While you're still thinking about investing in the agribusiness in Nigeria, you are in the diaspora, you need to take that time to keep doing research on your preferred area of livestock or crop farming, or whatever form of farming that you want to engage in. You can look for content online through YouTube. There are a lot of content out there. You can Google, you can join various forum and conferences. You can download books as well, about the area of the livestock that you are interested in. This is very important. It will give you the theoretical knowledge that you need, but those theoretical knowledge are also important when you start doing the practical, when you set up your farm. So please keep doing those research. They are very, very important. The second tip is beware of what I called consultancy trap. You see, consultancy services is needed, especially when you're looking into setting up your farm. One of the mistakes I've seen some of these diasporans do is they tend to choose anyone who is offering consultancy service. And most of these consultants do not really have the practical knowledge of farming. They probably just got the theoretical knowledge of farming. Some of them do not even own a farm. So when choosing the consultant, you need to make sure that you choose a consultant who do not only have the theoretical knowledge but also have the practical knowledge, and that the fee must not be exorbitant, because setting up your farm, you don't want to be paying so much money or a lot of your money going into paying huge consultancy services. If possible, you can also come back home, visit some farm, ask the right question, gain the right knowledge from some of this local farm. This can help you in having an informed decision. Number 3 is what I said. I call it start small and grow organically. You see, sometimes you may be tempted, especially if you're coming from the diaspora, and probably you have a lot of money that you can set up the farm in a very big way. You may be tempted to start in a massive way. The danger of this is that if you make a mistake, or if you get anything wrong, maybe you get your research wrong, because there are various markets, like your market is different from, maybe different from Lagos market. The dynamism in this place might be different from Lagos. You do not do your market research properly, or you come up and you set up the farm, but there is no much demand of that particular livestock where you set it up, and you may run on huge loss. And I tell you, a friend of mine have shared an experience of of an investor, a Nigerian particularly, who is in diaspora, who now decided to come back home to invest in a snail business. And so he went in a massive way. He set up this concrete pen, spent a lot of millions of naira in setting it up in a massive way, and within 6 months, shut down because of mismanagement, because of not doing his research properly, and because of some mistakes that come along the way, and simply because he started in a very massive way. At that level, it may be difficult to correct those mistakes. The good thing of starting small is that if there is mistake, if there are errors that are made at that early stage, you can easily correct them, you can learn from them, and then you can grow up from there. So start small, and then expand gradually. Number 4 is diversify to safeguard your investment against inflation and exchange rate. So you may be in Europe, you may be in America, you may be in UK, your currency may be higher. It's higher in comparison to naira, and you bringing that currency back to naira, you converting it to naira to invest. We need those investment in Nigeria. Nigeria needs those investment. We need those investment in the agri sector. And like one of the objective of this channel, of my own mission, is to contribute to food security in Africa. So we need diasporas to come and invest in Nigeria. But at the same time, you as the investor, you need to also understand the reality here in Nigeria, that in comparison to the naira is not doing very well in comparison to some of this currency I earlier mentioned. So you don't want to come and invest massively and not taking into account how do you curtail issue of inflation? How do you deal with the exchange rate? And how are all of that in relation to your investment? You know, you may be making money in naira, but when you do your analysis and you convert back to this, in fact, I had someone who invested in land when the naira to the dollar was around 400. You know, he invested in land, and he made good money because the land itself has appreciated by 2 times. You know, he invested, let's say 100,000, and the value of the land now is around 200,000. But when if you have to convert that money back to the dollar, when dollar was 400, but now currently dollar is about 1,200. So even though he has made profit in naira, but when he converted back to dollar, you can't say, okay, he probably may not have made significant amount of money. So it all depends on what is your objective. Do you intend to come back home, invest at home, and not worry about, you know, the dollar, the naira, and the dollar or whatever hard currency? Then it's okay. But if you still want to, you know, convert your money back to this other currency, you need to take cognizance of this reality and find a way to diversify your investment so that it can curtail this against inflation and the exchange rate. The fifth is, be careful of inflated cost. Be careful of inflated cost. So when you come back home and you intend to invest, so you need to take cognizance that you may end up a project that may cost 2 million, for example. If you are not careful, you may spend about 5 million to set it up. So you need to do your market research, understand what is the cost of building, for example, a pen like this. What is the cost of building it, your capacity? So you need to consider all of this cost. You need to put them you need to do those market research so that, you know, you do not end up spending so much money than you should have spent. So that is why you need to get the right professionals who would give you the real cost, the real cost of setting up your farm, of your entire production. So you need to get your figures, your numbers right. You know, otherwise you may end up having a very high inflated cost. So let's